Welcome everyone to the first episode of Chronos Stream. Right, so this stream is live stream on both Cronos Chain YouTube channel and on Cronos Chain Twitter. Right, welcome everyone. So let's give it a minute for more people to join in the stream, and then we will kick things off. Right, so yeah, see all the speakers are on the stream right now live. And then we are seeing quite a bit of viewers both on YouTube and on Twitter right now. Right. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone from all across the world. Okay, I think let us begin. Right. So welcome everyone. My name is Jay. I'm from the Chronos Labs partnerships team, and I will be the host of the first episode of Chronos Stream. Right. So Chronos Stream is a new initiative by Cronos Chain, where it is a platform for us to share more about the ecosystem and for projects to come on to give a sharing about the latest updates happening on their projects within their community, and really to give the community an insight to what's going on in the Cronos ecosystem. Right. So once again, my name is Jay, but I'm part of the Cronos Chain partnerships team. Right. Today, together with us, we have 6 speakers. Right. We have Ken, who is the head of Cronos Chain. We have ElderKarl, right, project lead at Boomer Squad, right, one of the most popular NFT projects on the chain. Right, we have Canvas and Sequence, who are co-founders of Meerkat NFT, right, one of the longest and most OG projects on the chain itself. We have Jered, right, BD director of Single Finance, and of course, last but not least, we have Nathan, right, co-founder of Ibiza's Bay, right, one of the leading NFT marketplace on Chronos. Right, so just a disclaimer that all updates shared in the Chronos stream are meant to be only informational and not financial advice. Okay, so this is how the agenda will go. Right, firstly, Ken will be giving 3 Chronos updates, right, the latest updates regarding and surrounding Chronos system, the Chronos ecosystem, and then we have the representative from each of the 4 projects. Each of them will be giving a 10-minute sharing. And then we'll end it off with 5 questions in a Q&A, right? So across each of this, right? So across this whole time, right, there will be a QR code that you'll be able to see on the top right of the slides, and then you will be able to scan the QR code and ask a question on the Airtable form. Right. So right now, I'll pass the time over to Ken, who will be giving a short sharing about the latest happenings and updates on Cronos Chain. Right, Ken, on to you.
Hey, thanks, Jay. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
So, I mean, clearly, the last few weeks have been eventful, and at times it has been comical and a little bit funny to see the rumors and fear that some influencers were trying to spread within the community. But of course, at many times it has also been sad and heartbreaking to see that many people lost their savings, lost their crypto gains, didn't know where to turn to for reliable information. And so we've been all together on the same boat, I think, trying to navigate uncharted waters in many respects. It's not the first crypto winter or bear market that we're encountering, but it certainly has its own specificities. And many things are things that we hadn't been through before. So look, I think at this point, within the Cronos Labs team, what we're the main learnings and messages that we're taking away from the latest developments from the FTX fallout and other events is that, first of all, broadly speaking, the Chronos ecosystem has been extremely resilient and overcome the storm. deposits and withdrawals into and from crypto.com, which for most of the users is still the main on-ramp and off-ramp into and off of Chronos, have continued throughout the crisis. There were some technical delays, but overall, it has been very much business as usual for the exchange and for the chain. And it's been really comforting to see that even though some of the independent third-party bridges did not have the liquidity to support deposits and withdrawals from and to Chronos, again, crypto.com has been a fairly reliable on-ramp and off-ramp, and nobody has been stuck. And then when you look at DeFi protocols, sure, I think there were probably some liquidations due to volatility of prices, but like the protocols have held up, have played the role that they're supposed to play. Prices haven't been manipulated, right? Prices were still consistent with the prices that you could find on exchanges and pricing websites. So I think by and large, DeFi has delivered on its promise, which is that even when it's hard to know who to trust, the code delivers and is able to withstand large amounts of volatility and uncertainty in the ecosystem. Having said that, it's also clear now that there's a lot of fear from the community at large, not specifically the Chronos community, but everyone who is investing in crypto and exploring the potential of DeFi, NFTs, and Web3 games. And when you think about it, the core positioning of Chronos is that it's the chain that is meant to bring the next billion users to Web3. And because our focus is on that next billion users, it's on the mainstream, probably more than on whales or just the core community of users who've been in crypto forever. I think that we need to be even more conscious than other chains of the need to rebuild the trust and to bring to get people to overcome their fears and discover the true potential that DeFi, NFTs, and Web3 gaming can bring to them. And this is going to become even more obvious once like the World Cup comes. Right, the World Cup is going to help further broaden the awareness around the Crow brand and all the things that are happening in the Chronos ecosystem. And so we're going to have plenty of users coming into our ecosystem who come with suspicions. And I think it's, the onus is going to be on us to be extremely transparent with the way that the protocols are working, have interfaces and documentation that are second to none, make sure that contracts are verified on the Block Explorer, make sure that when we see something that's not correct in the ecosystem, we speak up. I think in many respects, the last few weeks have shown the best and the worst that citizen journalists can bring. But I think we have to embody the best of that, and together as a community, make sure that we raise red flags when we're seeing things in our ecosystem that are likely to hurt users. So I think broadly speaking, I just want to share how pleased I am that we have largely been through the worst of the crisis, and how confident I am that Chronos is going to deliver on its mission. But clearly, there's still a lot of work to do and a lot of rebuilding that needs to happen. On that note, maybe I wanted to share a couple of other updates regarding the chain. Looking ahead, so the second cohort of the accelerator, so the Chronos Accelerator program, is currently taking applications. The details are available at chronos.org/accelerators, plural. Due to market conditions, the application period has been extended into January. And I think for us, the goal of the reason why we're extending the application period is really that we want to make sure that we're running a world-class accelerator, that we're bringing the best possible early-stage startups to Chronos, and that there are as many applications as possible so that we can really pick the best of the best. So we encourage you to share the link to the accelerator program with your network. And in the same way that I think the first cohort of the accelerator has been extremely, has managed to identify and then support very strong projects. I'm really looking forward to the second batch of accelerators bringing even more useful and exciting apps to Chronos. And finally, so we have on the protocol side, and that's more for people who are interested in the progress that we're making at the technical level with Chronos. So the Chronos development team has been preparing now for a few weeks for what we call the version 1 update of the protocol. So that release of Cronos Chain has been in testnet for a while now, and is going to bring probably early January or mid-January a number of foundational upgrades that are required for to support further scalability of the chain as we head into 2023 and prepare for the next market cycle. So the highlights in terms of what those updates are going to bring are, first of all, the chain is going to introduce a prioritized mempool. So this means that whereas today, if there are a lot of transactions in the network and those transactions exceed the size of the upcoming block, so today the excess transactions are dropped from the network and users have to try again in order to complete their transactions. Of course, we are not experiencing any of those drops right now, given the lower levels of activity, but definitely those are things that we experienced back in April or May when there were big NFT drops. So the mempool prioritization enables the mempool to store transactions and then prioritize them, not just based on first come, first serve, but on the priority fee that they have, that the users have inputted with the transactions in the same way that happens on the Ethereum network. And so definitely this is an enhancement that is going to help absorb peaks in demand. And even, especially since it's been combined with a 4 times increase in block size that has been completed since the beginning of the year. So that's the main improvement that will be visible for end users. And then additionally, there are a number of technical improvements that are going to make the lives of node operators and validators easier. So the storage of full nodes is going to be optimized, and we expect that this is going to be to reduce the storage required to run a full node by 30%. Additionally, there are enhancements in the node startup time, meaning the time that it takes to get a node started. We estimate that this could reduce startup time by 50%. And then the next upgrade is also introducing pieces of Cosmos technology that lay the foundation for greater EVM and Cosmos compatibility later on. So there are enhancements around IBC incentivization and the ability to add a memo field in IBC transfers. So all those things are not things that users will be able to see right away in terms of functionalities on the chain, but that will enable further enhancements later down the line that use new features coming from the Cosmos ecosystem. So it's very exciting to see that, again, I think despite everything that's happening, the open source community that is developing Chronos, that building on the Cosmos and the Ethereum ecosystems is continuing to build. I know that many dApp developers are doing the same in this context. And so, again, that leaves me even more confident that 2023 is going to bring Chronos to the next level.
Okay, thanks for sharing about the ecosystem. programs and technical infrastructure upgrades that's coming to Chronos. All right, so moving upwards from the infrastructure level, we get to the project and protocol layer. Right, and today we have 4 projects with us: Boomer Squad, Meerkat NFT, Single Finance, and Ibiza's Bay. Right, each project will have roughly 10 minutes to give a quick sharing, quick update about what's going on with the project itself. Right, so firstly, let's kick off with Boomer Squad. ElderKarl, let me bring your screen up. Let's see how we can.
You guys hear me all right? Well, don't full screen my face after making Ken so small. That's just not perfect.
All right. Yeah. Let's go with this. All right. So ElderKarl, you're from Boomer Squad. Boomer Squad has been making waves on the chain itself. A lot of updates, a lot of products, new features happening. I mean, firstly, right, give an introduction about yourself and Boomer Squad.
Sure. So the team itself, we're a team of 11 on the core side, including 4 in-house devs. We've known each other for a long time, so we would have been friends for at least 5 years. Some of us have known as far back as like college, and we decided, we've been in crypto since 2017, and some of us even earlier than that. We just decided, over the course of those years of being in, like anything else, you're in projects together or like investing in things together, and then you've always kind of conceptualized how we would build something if we were to build something, and eventually it got to a point at the end of 2021 where we're like, hey, let's just finally go ahead and do this. So we've been around since the beginning of January when we first started to kind of put our name out there. We minted our collection back in May, and we've been kind of building on top of that ever since. So that's the team's background.
All right. Thanks for sharing. And for a user who is new to Chronos, right, first time hearing about Boomer Squad, share about like 3 key reasons why someone should be attracted or should look into Boomer Squad or use Boomer Squad.
Yeah, I'd say for us, our main collection, our Gen Zero collection, the one thing and really the core thing that we promise to our holders is that everything we do within the Boomer Squad umbrella will always reflect back to them in some way, shape, or form. So essentially, we have our boomers main. So like if we were to do, we've done airdrops to those particular boomers. We have something called the Mattress Fund, which is our verified distribution, which is a method for us to distribute CRO to those holders, depending on some of the revenue streams that we have going. If we decide to kick that to the holders, that's the way we hand it to them through that method. As we go into the next steps of our project, no matter what we do, it'll always reflect back to that original collection is the main reason for that. And then the nice thing is with the project itself is, and we have a lot of users that fall under this umbrella where you can be as involved as you want, or as or as hands off as you want. So we have people that come back once a month, once every 2 months to kind of check and collect what's in their mattress fund, and then move on with their day and say, okay, I'll see you guys in 2 months. Like those types of holders are totally work in our ecosystem. But then there's also parts of what we have going on with like our boom rooms, for example, or when we did Chow Time, which was an on-chain game earlier this year. The ones that really want to be immersed and get their hands on a lot of in-depth things on block, we have those options for those users as well. So it's kind of like a nice one size fits all option for those that are looking to get into NFTs and kind of seeing what's out there. That's the way we've always looked at our collection. Is if you want to get really in depth, we want to make sure that what we're doing is fun and new and different. But if it's too much, you don't have time to sit in Discord all day or listen to me rambling on forever, then you can just kind of collect your NFT and kind of come and go as you please, is typically how so we try to cater to both worlds. And then as far as what we have going on now, so I mentioned Chow Time earlier. That was an on-chain game that we did earlier this year. So this was a marketplace arbitrage game where you would get a bunch of ingredients and basically you'd have to turn them in on block and make meals. And depending on how well you made your meals determined how much CRO you were returned back at the time of making them. And the cool part about the game is that at different intervals of time, the value of those ingredients would change. So, for example, it created this pretty interesting social experiment where, like, ice cream, which was one of the ingredients, would have been worth, let's say, 10 crow at the beginning of the game, but the last 10% of the supply is worth like 100 crow. And so you have an entire community of people holding on ice cream, but because at the end of 30 days, if you don't use your ingredients, it's all goes to like nothing. The game ends, and then you don't get anything for your ice cream, for example. So it's turned into, like, for that one particular ingredient out of the 20 that were in the game, turned into this like massive game of chicken, where a bunch of holders are like waiting for the other people to turn in their ice cream, basically, because they're all kind of waiting for them. So that was just one example. It was a 30-day little experiment we did to kind of show that an on-chain game would have a place and be something that people wanted to do, and also do something that wasn't necessarily like graphically intense or any, like a traditional game. It was more of like a game theory type game, and that was where we feel like our games fit really well that we have planned. And so that was like our first test that was really responded really well. And then now what we're currently in is in our Boom Room ecosystem drop. So Boom Rooms is what we would call like an interactive NFT. Essentially what you have is a 14 contract drop that has all these different aspects of these rooms communicating with each other, and the main purpose of them is to distribute our utility token Scratch. And what you have is you have rooms that, think of them like blank canvases, and as you get like furniture for your rooms that carry a certain amount of points, you can place them in and out of the room. So for example, you can have a room right now that's worth 20 points because it has this particular bed and this particular window, whatever the case may be. That NFT, you could take that window out of that NFT and kind of put it into a different one, and that's all done on block. All the metadata is logged and registered on block. It's all carrying a certain amount of point values. And then depending on how many points those rooms have, determine how much Scratch you earn relative to the rest of the people in the pool. The point is, it's a very complicated ecosystem, part of our ecosystem. There's a lot to go into there, and not in 5 minutes can be handled. But again, it's a good example of, like, if you held a boomer, you got free components for this Boom Room drop that I mentioned. You got a free room for it. So if this is too confusing, as you get into it and learn, you can kind of just take the stuff that you get and sell it on secondary and say it's not for me, or if it is for you, then you can get fully immersed. And we have people in our ecosystem that are building Boom Rooms and kind of trying to optimize them and play the game of that part of our ecosystem for over a month now. And there's users that are spending hours and hours and hours just kind of having fun making their rooms and doing that. So that's all done on our website, and it's a pretty cool, if you're into like smart contracts and seeing what they can do. It's not some standard ERC 721 contract. It's a pretty elaborate kind of hierarchy of contracts that are all communicating with each other. And so I think it's a good way for people to kind of get exposure to different things you can do with NFTs and blockchain.
Okay, right. So a lot of game theory happening. Since you started with Chow Time to Boom Room, right? And then I see that you guys have a couple of recent new features like the bingo, and then upcoming there's a game like where you can mint an NFT to go into an arena to. I'll let you share more to your community after that.
Yeah.
But then now let's go into the risk, right? Because obviously your game, it's fully on chain, a lot of smart contracts happening. For a user who is entirely new to your project, what are the risks, right, that entails behind like utilizing Boomer Squad related products?
Sure. So the first risk with anything like this is going to be to understand what the value of our collection is when you look at it on secondary versus what you're getting. Know that our philosophy on everything, a lot of projects will take like a certain amount of revenue streams and kind of put them in a pool, and kind of, you'll kind of earn them over a period of time. Our users get everything that they have coming to them real time as we decide to give it to them. So what I'm trying to say here is the value of the NFTs, as you look at them at certain price points on the market, are reflective of what people perceive them to be worth in the future, because everything that they've already kind of gotten to this point, like there's no There's not like a pile of crow sitting there that they're going to get over the next 30 days. They've already claimed it. So like all of the value for that NFT has already been realized by the current holder. And I think that's something that we were pretty adamant about putting in the collection at the first time, because at the beginning, because we wanted people to kind of, as you get it, you take it and you move on with the next thing. We don't want to like kind of bake in some holder value to like forcing people to hold on. So I think that's one thing, is as you see people on Twitter posting about like, oh, I got this from holding a boomer or whatever, they've already got it. You get your boomer now, you don't get what they had, last month, 2 months ago. That's one big thing to understand. And then as far as what the project itself goes, I mean, you're dealing with for Boomer Squad specifically, you're dealing with a lot of on-block things. I mean, that's part of why we are building what we built here on Chronos, because of the gas implications and how much it costs to transact here. I mean, our I forget the exact number, but like we've on just our internal contracts alone, this doesn't include secondary sales contract transactions, but we have over 100,000 transactions on all our contracts in our ecosystem, and we've been in operation we've been on block for now 6 months. So in 6 months time, our user base has put over 100,000 transactions on block. It kind of gives you an idea of how much time people spend using our ecosystem and understanding. So if again, there is the path of just kind of holding, but I feel like our project provides the most value the more involved you get. So if you're somebody that doesn't want to get involved with anything on block, and like you just want to, it's not for you, you don't want to mess with DeFi, like we're very much into doing things on block as much as we possibly can. And I think that's a pretty scary thing for a lot of people to understand, especially those that haven't done anything on the DeFi side.
Okay. Any final words, ElderKarl, before we move on to the next project?
Yeah. So first off, I appreciate you guys having us. I also appreciate the fact that, and including everyone that's up here, if you have any more questions, we're super responsive in Discord or communities. Also very passionate about the project and very knowledgeable. So you can hit us, come on our Discord, our Twitter, DM us on Twitter, whatever. We're always in there answering questions. Our get book is very well documented. So if you go to our website, you can see pretty much everything and read for over an hour and still not finish reading through all of our documentation that we have up. So if you have any questions by any means when you go look at the project, just please let us know, because again, we're always available pretty much most 24/7 at this point. So
okay, thanks so much for sharing about Boomer Squad and the introduction from yourself, ElderKarl. All right, so right now, moving on to the next project, Meerkat NFT. And before we go on to Meerkat, the team, so remember that there's this QR code on the top right side of the stream. Right? Feel free to scan the QR code, submit in your questions to any one of the speakers today. So I'll leave this screen on for a couple more minutes, but let's move on to the next project, Meerkat NFT. We have Sequence and Canvas with us today. Right, on to you guys.
Hey Jay, thanks for having us.
Yeah, nice to have you guys on here. Give a quick introduction about yourself and the Meerkat NFT project.
Sure. Hi, I'm Sequence. I'm one of the co-founders of the Meerkat NFT. So Canvas here is my co-founder. Canvas, we're gonna come say hi for a bit.
Yeah, hey guys.
Yeah, so we're actually a team of core team of 9. There's 5 of us on the NFT side and 6 of the rest on MMF, which is basically our DeFi arm. We're a project that actually started originally from Ethereum, and I think, truth to be told, it's something that I've been very open about even from the first day. We didn't really have a lot of success on Ethereum, and I think at the very cusp of giving up, I think we sort of tried to give it another shot, but this time round on Chronos. And I think through the lessons that we managed to learn during our Ethereum days, I think we were half lucky, and also half from that experience, we managed to make it happen and mint out our entire collection on Chronos, I think, way back in December. And I think the difference here is that instead of just trying to be a brand on Ethereum, in which that's what every single NFT project was trying to do at that point of time, we wanted to do a little bit more by being a platform for Web 3.0 education for just anyone and everyone in general. And I think we also took the additional step of like, instead of being just a mere platform where people can come together and refer to resources and learn together, we also took a significant portion of Mint Fund to sort of obtain a DEX, which is I think the first of any project that's ever done in all of Web3 history, and that's how MMF came to be. Yep, and through this platform, we actually did. So sorry, my voice is a bit off. I've been having this cough for 2 weeks, so you guys can bear it. But yes, so through this whole experience of like having our very own decks, we managed to help everyone learn by doing, by just going through and expanding with our own DeFi, our own set of DeFi protocols, where we educated everyone by sharing like what the different protocols can do, and it's up to the user's own discretion to take part or not. Yeah, so that was I think in like the short story, the TLDR version of our first part of our Mac adventure so far. Yeah. So I think also because of the recent market conditions and stuff as well, I think the DeFi side of things have not been doing very well, which is also why I think for a couple of weeks now, Canvas and I have been pivoting to our next stage, which is to transition more into being Web 2 to Web 3.0 brand, where we're trying to get more Web 2 brands on board with us. Canvas, you want to share more about that part?
Yeah, sure. So I'll just hit on to I guess what people should look forward to. So right now we are in a very unique position to build the MM brand, and we kind of envision a world where everything is kind of intertwined, right? So if you imagine one night you just hang around in Fortnite with your friends, you made an impulse purchase of a skin with a Meerkat hoodie, and within 2 hours, someone ships to you a physical copy that you can wear out later on. Or another scenario where you're just having a couple of beer purchases at Walmart, and before you trash the cans, you scan a code, and next thing you know, there are consumables in your MetaMask. So what's more important, I think, here is in these two scenarios, they are actually not dreams. They are things that are happening in different capacities in our world today. So if you see, for example, a 2-hour shipping, it sounds crazy, but that's basically Amazon, right? And if you think about it, at different points of our lives, we have been introduced to different parts that allows us to envision a world where everything can be built together. So this is where, for Sequence and myself, we've talked long and hard about the way forward. And our dream is to build the MM brand where it's a world of accumulation of our digital endeavors that will, allow us to be proud, allow us to strengthen the brand that we have today. So in the example that I said, when you go to the grocery stores, our aim, is to have a part of the Meerkats in every aisle possible. It's a dream, I know, but I mean, one can dream, right? Or, if you're at home, just playing, for example, in Ibiza's museum in your world, there's a small part that's related to Meerkats, or if there's other metaverses like Chronos, all these are the things that we are pushing to build the brand that we hope to achieve someday.
Okay. Thanks for sharing about yourselves and the project. And understand that the Meerkat journey has been a very interesting one, right? You all started out with a quite rough mint, right? Took a while to mint out, and then had a huge wow success on the chain, being one of the most popular NFT on the chain, right? And then as the market got into a more like rocky stage, right? I think it's impacted you guys slightly, right? So for a new user who might not have followed your journey as closely over the past year, we also we want to help them understand the risk that they might be getting into when they are entering your community. So what are the typical risks that they should take note of?
Sure. Yep. So I think this question, I think just now, Jay, I think you're being very polite by saying that the market has affected us very slightly. I think it's fair game to say that the market has actually hit the DeFi side pretty hard. But I think, like, for those that don't really know our values, actually the MAD in Meerkat stands for Maker, Adventure, and Daring. because I think for the whole team, from the NFT side and also the DeFi side, we're actually just different people that have been in crypto at different parts of this entire crypto life cycle, all the way since I think 2010. We all bring to the table different skill sets. For me, it's NFT. For some of them, it's DeFi. For the rest, is there's just way too many of the list. But you get my point, right? And the reason why it's Maker Adventure Daring is because all of us do love crypto for our various different reasons, right? Which is also why we dare to sort of like test the limits and also find new projects to create, new forks and stuff like that to experiment before adding on our own personalized touch, which is why it's mad. So that is both the double-edged sword here, right? One, which is you always be able to find very novel and exciting products from MM, regardless whether it's DeFi, NFT, or GameFi, or maybe just some other new thing on the horizon. But the flip side of that is that with every single new product that comes to the stage, there's always unforeseen risks, or like, for example, basically, because it's new, so you're not very sure what is the downside from it at all. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm not sure if that sounded clear, but I guess what I'm trying to say is you can't really see what lies ahead when it's very, very new, right? Which is also why I think within the community itself, I think in our prime days when the DeFi arm was doing fabulously well, we have always been cautioning and warning the community not to get too euphoric, because we as founders, we do not just play the role of sort of like introducing our work to the community, but we're also here to look after the community as the priority, right? So it's also our job and responsibility that once we see that the balance is shifted, where the community is now a bit too euphoric for their own good, we feel that it's our responsibility to remind them to, hey, this is getting a bit too far. Check yourselves, right? Be careful, be careful, be careful. That is the message that Canvas and I have been saying, I think, even when times were very, very good. Because like I mentioned, you never really know what's coming next, and you should always be having like a balanced approach. So I'm not sure if that directly answered your question, Jay, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that like we're always there to try new things. With every new thing, there might be risk that we cannot really foresee. But the one good thing here is that at least on our end as founders, we will always be reminding and trying our very, very best to take additional steps to protect our own community. Yeah.
Okay, for sharing. All right. I mean, so one takeaway, despite there being extreme volatility, especially within the MMF ecosystem, I think as a user who might be new to the Cronos Chain, right, be careful of such volatility. Be careful of the hype that might seem exciting, but there are definitely risks involved. And so, any final words from Sequence or Canvas regarding before I hand it over to the next project?
Yep, I think just one. Needless to say, I think like no matter wherever you go on crypto Twitter or just anything crypto related, the FTX tsunami just keeps going on and on. It's a bit of a broken record by now, but I just want to put it out there that like, for all those that have survived and all those who are sort of like still in crypto, just know that like there's always another brother or sister around you that's sort of feeling kind of like hurt or pain that the whole episode has caused, no matter how it's affected you. And if you ever need someone to like talk to, you can see in this chat there are just 4 great communities here for you to choose and just come in and just chat with somebody, right? Like there's no reason for you to think that you're always like you're alone. Yeah, there's always someone out there, and there's always someone out there. I think that's my final message. Thanks, Jay.
All right, thanks, Sequence. Okay, let's move on to the next project, Single Finance. We have Jered. So Jered, give a quick introduction about yourself and Single Finance to someone who is first time hearing about it.
Yes, thank you. So is my voice okay?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Jay. So hi everyone. So very happy to be here to share a little bit more about our protocol, Single Finance. So Single Finance is a leverage yield farming platform and covering a couple of key functions. which is of course including the lending pool, the leverage yield farming function, and our flagship product called the market neutral strategies. So it's all about leverage yield farming, liquidity provision, and all these things are audited by CertiK. So talking about the history of a protocol, we've just celebrated our first anniversary on Cronos, and we're happy, we're proud to be continue to be the number one, the first in the EU category on Cronos, according to the data on DeFi Llama, and we have just achieved an all-time high of CRO deposits in our lending pool, which is approximately 23 millions, and I hope with some of the upcoming key features and functions, we are going to attract even more CRO deposited into our platform as well. So some of the key features that I would like to highlight, if you are a passionate yield farmer. So we offered a capital protection board, especially for those who would like to track their investment equity level in terms of USDC. Is a very, very user-friendly and powerful functions that you can set a predetermined level to close the position according to your risk appetite. And also, I've mentioned a couple of times that our market neutral strategy for leverage yield farmer is so cool that we are helping people to control and better manage the impermanent loss, which personally I think impermanent loss is the key, I would say, is the enemy of all those liquidity provider in the DeFi world. And also we try to be very transparent on the protocol fee, all the charges, and how are we going to work. And we've tried to tell all the people and very, very transparent on stating all the details in the white paper. So there's no secret. So for every questions you may have, you can always find the answer from the white paper. And if not, just ping us in the Telegram group, and we'll tell you the right answer. And talking about the team, so we have a team of about 20 people. The majority of the team is in Hong Kong, next to Singapore, and some of them are in the UK, and some of them are in the rest of the world. So I would say it's the majority of the team. The majority of the team comes from the traditional finance background, and yeah, that's why we would like to build something. We planned 1 year ago to build something on the DeFi world, and we see a lot of synergy and support from the Cronos Chain. So that's why we are very, very happy to continue to build on this wonderful chain. So yeah, there's a little bit of about the protocol and the team. Thanks.
Okay, so for someone who is new to Cronos, first time hearing about single finance, why should that user look deeper into single finance and use your platform?
Okay, thanks. So 3 key things. So for first thing I would like to highlight is for those who are strong holders of CRO token. So as I've mentioned, we have a very, very high APY lending pool. So I would say, for example, like in the past few days, we always stand firm over 20% APR if you simply stick CRO to our lending pool and exposing to a very, very minimal risk, because you do not have to do anything, just stake and you enjoy the fee there. So this is the first thing I would like to highlight. And for you farmers, we always aim strike to provide value to our farmers with higher reward and lower risk. So as I've mentioned, lower risk is protected by one of the key features, which is the capital protection board, and also we have the market neutral strategy and ECU's manual rebalancing function as well. And for high rewards, you can see we have a very sophisticated auto compounding board, and you can leverage your position by borrowing from our lending pool as well. So I would like to give you some of the highlights of the high APY which we are offering for our users farming on VVS. So for VVS CRO, for this pair, the APY currently is around sitting at a level of 155%, and for CRO USDC is roughly about 40% plus. So enjoying all those risk mitigation measures, and you are still earning those high reward. And for another group of users, which I would say is a more risk concern users, you must pay attention to all the updates from our Twitters and socials about the upcoming new features, which we called it a automated rebalancing vote. It's a more advanced version of the market neutral strategy, which our bot help you to rebalance your position, to leverage position in the right moment, which our team has used months of testing, back testing, and finding the optimal delta rebalancing moment for you to enjoy this stable yield. So I think we will probably release a little bit more data about what actual yield and reward that you are probably enjoying based on the data. For example, like based on the data pass in the past 6 months to 1 year, so you can have a rough idea how powerful it is. And this automated rebalancing vote is so cool, especially for those USDC seeking a USDC in, USDC out users, which are seeking real yield in USDC. Yeah.
Okay, so single finance, leverage yield farming, and lending of CRO tokens and many other tokens.
Yeah.
So the word leverage is like a double-edged sword, right? You can amplify your earnings, but it also amplifies the losses and also potentially leads to liquidation. Can you share more about the losses, right? Assuming that user who might not be too familiar with leverage yield farming, what are the various risks involved when it comes to
okay, cool.
So
So talking about risk, yes. So there's no free lunch in the world. So if you are enjoying high rewards, it comes with a cost, right? So that's why we always emphasize on how are we going to mitigate the risk. So I think probably the first risk I would like to highlight is, of course, the impermanent loss. And that's why I've mentioned a couple of times about what kind of measures that we are going to help you to reduce this kind of risk. For example, like the capital protection board, like the market neutral strategy, and the upcoming new features, which we name it the automated rebalancing board. So these are one of the key things that we are helping people to reduce risk, but still you have to understand what kind of what actually the mechanism and how it actually works. So other than that, I think for yield farmers, especially under very, very volatile market, whether it's up or down, the blockchain itself. So I'm referring to Crow and it may sometimes have network congestion and transaction failure. So these are some of the, I would say, it's not very frequently encountered risk, but still is there. But we, as I've mentioned, we try to be very transparent. We always tell the community that if there's any congestions in the chain, we will notify the community, and then they will be more aware of what is happening on the technical side of the chain, and how are they going to respond to any of their decisions on, for example, like opening a new position or closing your existing positions. So this is something that we are trying to work hard to lower the risk of on the technical side. Yes.
Okay, so impermanent loss, to be careful of leverage.
Yeah,
I think these are like two of the biggest risks when it comes to utilizing leverage yield farming on single finance.
Yes.
Before we end things off for your sharing, any last words from you?
Yeah, of course. I would like to echo again that please subscribe to all the shows and then pay attention to the updates related to the automated strategy vote, the automated rebalancing vote, which I think it's a breakthrough. And like I said, the team has spent quite a long time back testing, finding the right moment, the magic numbers, things like that. And I think it will become a very, very popular product and will make some noise in the DeFi territory. So yeah, pay attention to it and let's enjoy it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for sharing, and also as the one and only DeFi protocol here with us today. Right, thanks for that.
Thank you.
Okay, last but not least, we have Nathan, who is the founder of Ibiza's Bay right? The OG NFT marketplace that has been live on Chronos since 1 year ago, right? Nathan, how are you today?
Great, Jay. It's good to see you. I feel like we're kind of getting the gang back together here, so it's awesome to see all these great protocols come together. And Ken, good to see you again, my friends. So yeah, we did launch, or I did launch Ibiza's Bay the day that Cronos went live. So is that we celebrated our 1 year anniversary, November 8th. And that's when I, launched our membership protocol and the VIP founding members that went live that week. And to my surprise and delight, they sold out in that very first week. And that allowed me to call my boss and that Sunday night say, hey, I'm not coming back. So, and then from there, we've grown the team to 9 core members, and then quite a few other people helping us out kind of on the side and that kind of thing. We got people in Canada, Finland, UK, Costa Rica, all helping. And I've hired all, directly out of the community. So, every single person on the team is very, very, very passionate about Chronos, about the NFT space, about it, Ibiza's Bay. And it's really been, a privilege for me to build this team and work together with all these amazing people.
All right. Very interesting story. And I mean, you guys have been here since the start of Cronos Chain. What a journey, right? And along with this journey, there has been, I think, this space of NFT marketplace has been getting very competitive. Right? We see many other NFT marketplace coming up to try to fight for this market share. Right? As a user who is coming to Chronos, he will see multiple NFT marketplace to use. So why should a user be attracted to Ibiza's Bay and do their NFT trading on the platform?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. And I think the primary answer is just the passion that I just mentioned, with the team that we've built here. Every single person on this team is, put their heart and soul into building up this protocol and this website. And we really listen to the community and try to bring, the features that people want. For example, yesterday we released just a tool to let you bulk transfer your NFTs. So you can transfer up to 100 NFTs at a time from any contract to another wallet. So if you're trying to move, to your hardware wallet, which I'd recommend people do, it makes it a lot more easy and actually saves some gas as well. So, it's things like that we try to do, but I'd also, encourage you to check out the other protocols out there and, maybe you'll catch a deal over on Minted or Croci or whatever. But, at the end of the day, we're here trying to build the best product we can and provide the most value that we possibly can to collectors and to those project owners out there. For example, all these projects that have their own, little gaming ecosystems, we'll go out of our way to, query their separate APIs to show info about, their game and stuff that are outside the normal standard for NFTs. So if you go and you can see like what Lazy Horse, what kind of additional stats and what if somebody's named their horse, you can see the name and that kind of thing. So we work really hard to try to work with every single protocol on the chain and provide as much support as we can to individual projects.
Right, and you guys recently announced like Ryoshi Tales. Perhaps you want to share something.
Yeah, so thank you. Like I said, I launched on November 8th last year, and to kind of commemorate our 1 year anniversary, we're letting people trade in their one VIP NFT, which was a collection of 1,000 on the 1155 protocol. And now they can trade their one VIP in for 10 Ryoshi Tail VIPs, which are 721 and all unique. And I'm just loving the art so much. I think the artist was just great, and it's the artist from the gaming studio, which is building our Ryoshi Tales game, which is going to launch on Chronos, and it'll be a cross blockchain game as well. I think my point of view is the future of GameFi is like if you're supporting multiple chains, it's kind of like supporting Xbox and PlayStation at once. So I'm really excited about it. It's going to be like a Civ type game where you start out pre-civilization and slowly build up an empire, mine resources, and build yourself up into the space age. And will be, as you advance your civilization, you'll unlock different kind of DeFi protocols and this kind of thing. For example, you'll be able to build a bank building and deposit your tokens into the bank and earn interest and this kind of thing. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'll definitely, listening to ElderKarl today, I want to reach out to him about some of that game theory that he's been working on. It sounded really interesting. And I think I'd love to kind of pick his brain about what he's got going on there. But we're still quite a ways out. I think Q3 is our targeted release. We'll have a playable demo out much sooner than that. But we're targeting Android, iOS, Mac OS, and Windows for the release. And it's been in development for about 6 months now, but we still got a lot of work to do. But I'm very super excited about it for sure. So definitely watch this on Twitter and to get updates about it. And I'd have you come check out some of the VIP Ryoshi Tales that are on secondary now, if you hadn't had a chance to get a VIP before.
Okay, so some exciting updates that you are building towards, right? So definitely looking forward to that. As the Chronos gaming scene becomes more and more mature. And to close things off for a new user, new to Chronos, new to the decentralized side of things, a decentralized NFT marketplace, right? What are the key risks involved with interacting with Ibiza's Bay?
Yeah, thank you. I'd say definitely, do your research. If you're trying to get into a project here, we at Ibiza's Bay, we offer KYC services. We do, so we kind of know the identity of several anonymous projects, and we will prominently display that information on those collection pages, that if they've KYC'd with us or if they've publicly doxed themselves, this kind of thing. But no, even those who have KYC'd or they've publicly doxed themselves, and even those anonymous projects that have the very best intentions, these are some rough market conditions right now. And even with the best intentions, sometimes, projects can just fail. So, don't, I would only buy an NFT if at the end of the day, you're just happy to own the art and it just happens to be something you collect. So don't go putting your life savings. I get that question a lot. Should I put my life savings into this project here and there? That was a literal question from my Discord yesterday. And so the answer is no. Don't do that. Just do it. If you like to collect comic books, if you like to collect records, or NFTs are just another thing to collect. So the additional kind of fun things we can do with the DeFi protocols are great, and it's really exciting. We're working on the bleeding edge of things, and trying to push the envelope and do new exciting things. And but let's just leave it at that. Do your own research, and don't buy an NFT with money that you don't that isn't play money, or you're not comfortable losing.
Right. Yeah. So I guess the real key risk here, it's for a new user to be careful of any new mints, right? Even though it might be KYC, it might not mean that the project is 100% safe, right? There's still risk where the project might not survive in the next 6 months
Right.
or even shorter. Okay. Any last words from you, Nathan, before we move on to Q&A?
No, I just thank you so much for inviting me on, and it's been really great to hear from all these other projects and to see Ken again and you as well, Jay. So and thank you to the team who's been working really hard to make Ibiza's Bay great for the community, and thanks to the community for all your support.
All right. Thanks for sharing, Nathan. All right, let's move on to Q&A. I will be sharing 5 questions. Let me bring up the question. So some of the questions are targeted to specific projects. Some of the questions are targeted to the roundtable. Right, so first question is targeted at Meerkat NFT. Are you guys still tied to Finance, right, the DeFi side of things? So maybe Sequence or Canvas, do you want to take this?
Yeah, for sure. Yes, I don't think the word is tight. I think we're still a team and working together at Finance. I know that recently there have been a spate of rumors saying that we are going to detach from Finance. I think that is a possible option in the future, but I think just for clarity's sake and answering this question at the present moment, the answer is yes.
Okay. Thanks for that. Very clear. Next question. Right. Perhaps this is for Ken or maybe for any projects that are building something. Right. When will we be able to see NFT borrow lending on Chronos? Right. Because he saw a Kairos project in the Q3 grants of Cronos Labs. So maybe Ken, you can give some color regarding Kairos, and then let's say I'll pass the floor on to the roundtable here to see if anyone has insights on this.
Yeah, sure. So Kairos is a project that we met at the ETH NYC hackathon and worked with and convinced to deploy on Chronos. So they are one of the recipients of the grant program, which if you want more information about, you can visit chronos.org/grants. And right now they plan to go live in Q1 2023 with NFT lending and borrowing. So usually when a developer says Q1, it means end of Q1. I've been working in tech for long enough now that I take the higher range of the estimates. So I think let's say probably end of Q1. But there might be other projects that are introducing NFT lending and borrowing for various use cases. So I don't know if ElderKarl or Nathan, you know of any.
I did see that on there's another NFT market called maybe Sequence can correct me if I'm wrong, Moon Pie or I don't know, Moon something. Moonflow, is that it? But I did see they announced they'll be doing a lending protocol. It's been a requested feature for us, and I know I said I listen to the community, but I personally don't believe in leverage, so I don't have interest to implement something like that on Ibiza's Bay. But I would check out that Moonflow. I know that is something on their roadmap if they haven't done already.
Moon Pie could be a future product from them. Who knows? It's quite cute name.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, Kairos, it's a very interesting project to come for sure. Let's see. I think Cronos NFT scene is one of the more exciting verticals on the chain itself. So, opens up a lot of possibility when it comes to NFT financialization. Okay, next question. On the topic of NFTs, we have Gandalf, who is from the RockX team. Right. For each of the guests here, right, what is the most revolutionary, powerful utility or function that can be done with Cronos NFTs? So I think most revolutionary is like a very extreme statement, but perhaps what is a interesting or powerful utility that you see in NFTs? Perhaps like ElderKarl, on to you.
Yes. So I think for us, we've always pushed our revolutionary contracts onto the other parts of our ecosystem, like the boom rooms or chow time. So I had mentioned earlier boom rooms. You have basically 14 contracts all talking to each other real time. You're minting metadata off block, and that metadata is tied to a point system that determines how much of the utility token that you're getting, and then you're taking those NFTs and moving traits amongst components, and then taking those components and moving them inside or out of your rooms. You can alter the view of your NFT real time on our website. So we've taken that whole concept of like I said, like game theory, and put it into those utility, and those contracts are quite impressive. And I don't give my dev team a lot of credit because I don't like to make their heads too big, because then they get it like insufferable in a lot of cases. But for the most part, those contracts are one of the most impressive things I've seen on block, and I've been around the space for a while. I think the powerful utility for boomers is actually probably the simplest one, which is you just hold it in your wallet. I think we're learning very quickly these days, especially when you talk through like anything custodial, when it comes to like staking things or giving them out, or kind of not having control of your assets. We have the principle from day one that when you hold a boomer, which is our Gen 0 boomer, you should get all the benefits of having that NFT by just keeping it in your wallet, nice and safe and sound in your own way. And so all of the things that we've done there is not necessarily revolutionary, but it's the most powerful thing, which is you hold your asset just by simply having it. You get all the benefits of our ecosystem without kind of losing control of your assets, which is what DeFi is all about at the end of the day. So that's probably the most powerful part of our ecosystem and our boomers.
Okay, and perhaps Nathan, right? You've seen a lot of NFT projects approaching your marketplace. Speak about any utility that you think it's interesting to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think he makes a good point. It's really interesting to see what we can do with token gating in general, and proof of ownership, and how that can relate to receiving benefits from within that small ecosystem as they grow. So, for example, like if you own one of these Ryoshi Tail VIPs that we were talking about earlier, you can put it into our staking contract, and then 50% of those fees from our platform go straight into the rewards pool. It's built into the protocol of the market, and it's equally distributed amongst all those people who are staking. So, it's really cool, the kinds of interesting things we can do like that, and we'll have some other kind of similar mechanics in the game that we're building right now. I mentioned that you'll be able to unlock DeFi and GameFi protocols as you advance through the game. So I'd expect to see a lot more stuff like this, just as we as a community continue to push the state of the art. And there's several projects on the chain to look into that are experimenting with this type of stuff.
Okay, maybe on to the Meerkat team. I think you guys are one of the first few NFTs that give very interesting functions to your NFTs. Where do y'all see revolutionary utility coming in?
Yeah, so actually my answer for this is a bit contrarian. I used to believe that utility was very, very important for NFTs. They still are, don't get me wrong. But I think now the focus should actually be how NFTs can be more of a brand, because I think that's how NFTs first began, right? Like, I think if you think about Bored Ape, if you think about CryptoPunks, they had no utility. It's more of like them being as branding as like Rolexes of Web 3.0, right? I think the reason why that is so is because it's because, like, I think for now, in terms of concrete utility for NFTs itself, I think it's hard for any single one NFT right now to be sort of revolutionary. I'm not referring to Chronos, I'm referring to every single NFT, no matter which chain you are. Not because the NFTs themselves it's not because the NFTs themselves are not revolutionary. It's just that right now I think this industry is still very, very early, right? Maybe in the future, yes, but it's just not now. And I think at least for us, we may have tied our NFTs too closely to this whole idea of concrete utility as well. So I think before that, it was that I think for NFTs, it can be staked on all our DeFi platforms, or at least most of our DeFi products, and you get some form of additional amplified yield and stuff like that, depending on whatever product you've staked it on, right? But going forward, I think that's why we have chosen to take the step of trying to transit more into becoming a brand and seeing where that step can entail. Yeah, so I do believe that for NFTs, the next step would actually to go back to becoming more of a brand focused than being utility focused. But that's just our own personal take on it. It's not really like that. Yeah, it's just our own personal take on it. Thanks.
Okay, very interesting take. I mean, the branding thing is still, a core to many NFT projects. No matter if it's a blue chip NFT or a new NFT, right? The brand has always been like one of the core value to any NFT project. And maybe perhaps for Jered, anything that you would like to add to this question?
Sorry. Yeah, that was a myth. Yeah, thanks for asking. So I think
We lost him.
Let's see. We lost.
We'll forever wonder what he was about to say.
Okay.
Maybe let's move on. And I just want, I'm going to try and answer the question from another angle, which is,
Sure.
I think, what we'd like to see on Chronos and where we feel there are some gaps. So I think it's been great to see the vibrancy of the NFT vertical as a torchbearer for some communities, and increasingly now as a source of in-game assets that have some form of utility within a game universe or narrative or metaverse. And so I think those are great use cases. We're very happy to see that on Chronos. To some extent, I was hoping that by this point, we would have more use cases on Chronos that enable economic activity and the kind of the creator economy using NFTs. So whether it is tickets to digital events or like creators selling subscriptions to their services or their advice or their time using NFTs, which I think is a good way to target a global market across borders and a market of people who have similar interests in crypto, in investing, in global culture. So I think maybe it's a call for action for some wannabe developers on this call. I think it would be great to have people who bring NFTs as enabler of the creator economy as an additional use case on Chronos, and that could also help bring lots of new users to the chain.
All right, thanks for that take, Kan. Let me see this question right from Rose Runner. Maybe it's a question to all the projects here, right? Is there an area where you can see an increase in jobs in Web3 or within your respective communities? Anyone want to take this question?
Yeah, I'll start. So I think the answer is yes. At least for us, we're in the process right now of bringing two people onto the team to handle certain parts of our ecosystem or help support certain parts of our ecosystem. I think what you've seen in job opportunities in Web3, if you weren't the developer or an artist or I guess running a project, has typically been like on like Discord moderation, or there's a lot of you'll get there's a massive oversaturation of people trying to like market your projects for you, which is a pretty easy, call it like one step to like what makes sense. I think what'll happen here over the course of time as Web3 and crypto in general just becomes more adopted and more accepted in in the world by people, you're going to see more use cases for like what you would consider like a traditional Web 2 brick and mortar type business to run those types of things. So, for example, we're going to be opening up a leg of our project that is more Web 2 based. That'll be tied into the Web 3 space, and that'll be I'll need somebody to kind of run that part of the project. So it'll be more like a traditional job in that sense, where like they won't be sitting on Discord all day. They'll be kind of like a background person doing things for the project, but it'll be that'll be, I think, where a lot of opportunity comes, is you'll start to see projects have a need and tie in Web3 and crypto into like what you would consider like a Web 2 business, but then that like synergy between the two, and I think it offers a lot of opportunity for people as time goes on. You just need to basically have projects kind of start dipping into other parts of revenue streams that aren't being tapped right now.
Okay, thanks for the take, ElderKarl. Anyone wants to add on to this question from maybe the MMF team or Nathan?
Yeah, sure. I think, I mean, absolutely. You know, as Web3 becomes more popular, we'll see a lot more, you know, a huge influx of jobs. So I think, you know, starting to learn the various, especially for developers, the various skills, and whether that be, you know, Solidity development or Move or some of the other protocols out there. There's going to be a lot of jobs, you know, in this next 10 years, you know, and there's plenty of room for learning, and it's a lot of fun, you know, learning these how to work with these protocols and build protocols, and so I think there'll be, you know, plenty of opportunities out there, and also, you know, having, even if you're not a developer, but having a strong understanding of these ecosystems and communities will lead to plenty of work, and you know, the other kind of traditional roles required to run software companies, like whether that be business analysts or project managers, etc. So yeah, there's going to be plenty of work in Web3, and you know, and there'll just be more and more, you know, as we get better regulation and just more popularity, and people becoming more feeling more comfortable participating in the space.
I will say real quick too, to add on to that, I think what is massively lacking in this space right now is a lot of people that understand the accounting side and like tax side, for example, of Web3. So there's not a lot of expertise in this space. There's a lot of people that would be considered like Twitter accountants or Discord accountants that don't actually know what they're talking about. So there's a big void in that. Same would come with like any legal counsel. There's a lot of gaps in that as well. There's a lot of like lawyers that are still learning. Like we've had plenty of like meals or luncheons with people in any of those fields that are like talking to us to understand the space so that they could start coming into it. And then the third one I think is massively lacking is education as well. I think there's a massive void for people to be educating what we would consider like a layman on crypto and Web3. And I think there's a huge opportunity for people to get involved in that. Like a lot of universities are starting to pop up with courses here and there. If you truly know DeFi and you truly know how to operate, there's going to be people looking for people like you to kind of spread the knowledge. I think those are 3 areas specifically that need a lot of people in it.
Okay. All right, let's move on to the last question. This is targeted at Ken. All right, for a new gaming project wishing to start on Chronos, could you give any tips on how best to apply, be a successful candidate applicant for the Chronos Accelerator program?
Yeah, so the accelerator program is an accelerator, which means that its primary purpose is to help startups get from a point when they are nearly ready to raise funds to a point where they can successfully raise funds at an early stage. And so the number one question, I know that when Jay and Ella are running the process of evaluating accelerator candidates, they don't decide on their own, right? A lot of that work consists in talking with VCs and other types of investors in our ecosystem to understand at a point in time what is it that as investors they are looking for, what are the theses that they are currently operating under, and in order to feed those theses with companies that are potential investment targets for them. So I think the accelerator is in that sense different from the grant program in the sense that it does not just reward effort or milestones. It really targets companies who are going to be successful at fundraising, and so there are a few consequences to that. So the first one is that you need to have something to show. It doesn't have to be a fully fleshed product, but it has to be either an MVP if you're in DeFi, or a playable demo and a narrative and like visuals if you're building a game. Or and if you're building a piece of infrastructure or some set of tools, an MVP has to be available as well, so that by the time you reach demo day, which is 10 weeks into the program, you can fully demonstrate your product. So that's number one. Number two, I think the consequence of that is probably if you're a prospective founder in Web3, I would recommend that you don't just quit your job like Nathan did 1 year ago up front. I think we're at a point in the market where it's helpful to have a stable source of revenue for yourself and for your family. It's important to know that many founders hustle for a while and have kind of a day job and a night job until they get to a point where their products, they has sufficient traction, or there is enough market feedback that they feel it's ready to jump in the unknown or at the deep end of the pool. So we're really recommending that founders don't apply for the accelerator program when they are desperate and are running out of money. Right? It shouldn't be. You shouldn't count on that. You should make sure that you take the time to polish your product and then apply for the accelerator program when you really feel that you have all the tools at your disposal to conduct a successful fundraising. And number three, of course, it helps if you have a track record as an entrepreneur, because being a successful founder takes many skills: knowing how to speak to investors, knowing how to hustle to acquire users, knowing how to run a sustainable business. And so not everyone is a first-time, is an experienced founder, of course, but if you're not, be aware of those limitations and try to partner with co-founders who have experience as founders. They will give you immense tips in terms of how to prepare a pitch deck and think about your product market fit. So I think those are general considerations in terms of how to be successful as an accelerator program applicant. And then, of course, in terms of verticals, our focus areas remain the same for Chronos. We are focused on DeFi, on metaverse, which includes NFTs and gaming, and tooling. And within those verticals, we are particularly interested in applications that are very focused on consumer use cases, because again, our positioning is that we are going to bring the next billion users to Web3, and a lot of everything that is targeted at first-time crypto users who are coming into self-custody is very valuable for the chain.
All right. Thanks for the take, Ken, and for sharing about how the Chronos Accelerator thinks about applications and how the review process is like. Okay, so now we have come to the end of this first ever Chronos stream. Right. Firstly, I would like to thank everyone. Right, Canvas, Sequence, ElderKarl, Nathan, Ken, and of course Jered from Single Finance, who already left us. So his laptop shut down, unfortunately. Right, so thanks for taking the time today to attend this live stream, and thanks everyone who are watching this stream on YouTube or Twitter. Right, hope you got some good insights on what's happening on Cronos Chain and what are the latest updates for all of the projects that we have on today. Right, so for this Chronos stream, we'll be hosting it on a bi-weekly basis. right? And we'll be also inviting other projects on to the next episode of Chronos Stream, right? So thanks everyone for tuning in today, right? Have a good morning, good afternoon, good night, right? Cheers.